Hey guys, Rick with Let's Level Up here, and we have another really fun, really great Kickstarter review for you guys. The game we're going to be talking about today is Noble Treachery, and this is actually designed by Jay Meyer and published by Great Northern Games. This game we're going to look at today, I will just kind of give you a quick preface. This is a prototype, so some of the components here are far from finished. I don't want you to let that dissuade you or give you a negative taste on what this game actually has. The box, the rule book that still needs to be rewritten and updated, a lot of the cards have kind of temporary text on them. The artwork, however, is amazing for most of the parts. So aesthetically, the game is going to look great. It's got a very light $10,000 Kickstarter goal. As of filming this video, they're sitting right about $7,000, so they're about 70% complete. Hopefully this video sways a couple of you guys to backing it because this project is going to be a lot of fun. The premise of this game is that the Kingdom of Black Rose, the king has actually mysteriously died, which leaves all of us, the other nobles and potential seekers of the throne, an opportunity to kind of seize that. And so what we're going to be doing is trying to build alliances with the other noble families, and essentially the first person to complete an alliance with all 5 houses at the same time will win the game and become king. And what you want to do with your adversaries at that point is up to you. So this is a card and dice game, and very easy to learn. So follow us after the jump. We're going to teach you a little bit about Noble Treachery. Okay, so here are the contents of the box of Noble Treachery as it stands. And again, a big exclaimer here on this video, this is merely a prototype. So a lot of the things that you're seeing here are not completely finished. Some of the card designs do not have the final template on them. The card stock isn't quite up to quality. The tokens are going to be redone, and so are the diplomacy and war tokens as well. Let's just really quickly go over the general point of this game. Each of these 5 colored tokens here is going to represent one of the noble houses of Black Rose. I can win the game if I obtain one of each color of those tokens. So essentially, if I can get all 5 houses of Black Rose to be on my side at the same time, I win. Now, the only problem with this scenario is that everybody else is going to be trying to do the exact same goal. So essentially, on our turn, we'll play 1 card from our hand, and we'll match the color of that card, designated here in the top left corner of the card, with whatever the current value of the die is, of said matching color. So for instance, if I play a blue card, I will take a look at whatever the blue dice value is and add that together, unless the card says otherwise. Oftentimes the cards I play are going to have me go ahead and roll to see if I can either increase or decrease this value. Now, there's a lot of other different mechanics built into this game. One big rule here, there's no traditional table talk in the sense of if you've played cards, you know that the blue monk has already been played. I can't let the table know, hey, the blue monk's played, so I know that player B doesn't have the blue monk in my hand. So table talk is completely off limits here. That's not this type of game. Now, I would encourage, I don't know if I'd call it trash talking, but I definitely always try to get in the head of my opponents. And, you know, I can't, of course, bluff what I have in my hand, but I can try to maybe bend the rules of talking at the table just slightly to make someone think I'm going for a different strategy, either through my body language or what I'm mentioning at the table, to try to trick them into switching it from a diplomacy to a war, and more on that later. First off, what we traditionally do is take a look at the manual. I have to say, for merely a prototype, I think Jay and the guys at Great Northern Games have got a really good manual here. It's written excellently. The images and the different tables and schematics here within the manual are very good, and as far as teaching you what the game does. Very easy to read, very easy to follow. You can really just open up this game, start on the setup section, and then just walk you through how to play it, which is what we did the other day, and we had a blast doing it. So manual, check, it's good. The next components here are going to be the actual individual cards. Now, there are different types of cards. Each of the cards has a potential to be any one of the 5 colors. So there are common cards, and then there are uncommon cards. Common cards are things like the Thief and the Witch, and I don't know if the Cleric is or not, but there are different cards in here that they're more numerous in the deck than there are the other ones. Each of these cards has got a couple things here. One, it's got a value here in the top left corner. This is the value that's going to be added to whatever the corresponding color's die roll is. And then each of the cards has a name as well as an ability text on what it does. Now, this card can be anything from roll X die and change that value to if the color of this card matches the lowest die value on the table color, then you can pull that color from the bank. Pull a token of that color from the bank. And again, I'm trying to assemble all 5 of these tokens here into my area. So let's see an example round of play. I'm going to set this up really quick and just give you kind of a close look on some of the cards and also what the bidding mechanic is and versus the mechanics of either diplomacy or war, those 2 different major game types. Alright, so in Noble Treachery, the dealer is going to give you a hand of 7 different cards. These cards I'm going to keep close to my chest, and they're not public information. At the start of the game, I'm going to get rid of a number of tokens here, according to how many players you're playing, as well as a number of cards off the top of the deck, which will immediately go into the discard pile, just to kind of help balance things out. Then, the dealer is going to pick a random card and assign the lowest value token that matches this color card. So for instance, War Troll 9 is going to give me the black 3. So you can see that this value here has got a K on it, that's the symbol for black, and it has got, we're going to actually arrange these in order of smallest to greatest. And essentially there's going to be 1 token less here starting out for each player. So if you're playing with 4 people, there are only going to be 3 tokens there in the bank. So this game scales from 4 all the way to 6 players. You probably could play it with 3. I think I saw another review that said you probably could play with 3. I think 4 players is a good mix though. 4 to 5 players and even 6 players I think is going to play with a lot of fun. The more people you have in this game that are going to be able to manipulate the dice and kind of keep other players from winning, it's going to give you a better experience, I think. So we're going to remove one of these tokens here. Actually, say we're playing with 4 people. We're going to remove those 2 tokens from the bank starting out, and since I got a black chip, I would get that. Now this is the first alliance that I have within the game. Now we'll go around the table and everybody else will get a random card assigned to them, such as the green 7 from my next player, and then they would get the 2. And that would be theirs. So we'll go through and assign everybody that way. After that, whoever is in the lowest position in the game, and that is determined by number of tokens. If I have 2 tokens, I'm in a better position than somebody that has 1. If I have no tokens, I'm in last place. If there's ever a tie for last place, we can do it determined on whoever was the last loser. So right now, my value is 3 on this token, and their value is 2. They would essentially be in last place, because after the number of tokens that are tied together go, you do by point value. So since we each have 1, a 3 is higher than a 2. That person in last place is going to take all 5 of the dice and roll them. And that player is also going to choose whatever the highest color dice here, which for instance is right now is blue and yellow, 2 6s. They're going to pick one of the tokens here from that because they get to choose. Normally you would just take whatever the highest die value is. So in this case, since this player already has green, yellow or blue would be a good one for them to put into the pot. So I'm going to set the bank off over here really quickly, and we'll go ahead and say that they're going to put blue into the pot, and this is going to be referred to as the spoils. I'm sorry, that's yellow. This is going to be referred to as the spoils of the game. So I'll take these dice and we'll just move them out of the way here, and we have our spoils, which is going to be a yellow 5. Next up is going to be the betting phase. Everybody's going to go around the table, starting with the person who was the loser, and decide whether or not they want to bet on the right to become the challenger. The challenger in this game has a whole lot of power. The challenger gets to pick not only the game type that we're playing, but also whether they go first or last. And playing last in this game has a whole lot of power. I don't have to throw out my big cards. I know what all's on the table already, and we're going to play in a circle motion here. So whoever goes first plays their card, next will play their card, their card, their card, and these dice values are going to be manipulated as we play. And depending on the game type, whether it's war or diplomacy, I either want to have the highest value in the case of war or the lowest value in the case of diplomacy. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's say I'm the challenger here, or rather I'm going to go ahead and bet my token of a 3. So I have a 3 in the pot, or rather betting in there, and then the next player is going to attempt to bet their 2. Since 2 is not higher than 3, that bet gets cast out, and unless somebody can bet a 3, I'm going to become a challenger. In this case, I am going to become the challenger. So I will elect to go last. So let me just kind of zoom in really quick and show you my hand and some of the cards that I have in there. Alright, so my hand as of right now consists of a blue monk, and the monk's ability says when this card is played state a color, your opponents cannot play a card of that color for the rest of the round. I have a green 2 blood ring, and the blood ring says trade one of your alliance tokens with one of your opponent's alliance tokens. I have a black cleric, and the cleric says if the value of the black die matches the value of another die, all players must pass an alliance token to the right or left. You choose the color and direction. Very powerful card here. The witch, red, 6, says choose higher or lower. Roll the die, and if the die matches your prediction, take a red alliance token, and red because it's a red card here, from the bank or from another player if the bank is empty. The thief says, and this is a yellow 4. It's the second time I've done that. It's a yellow 4, and it says you may roll the yellow die. If the yellow die is the lowest value die or tied for the lowest value die, take one yellow alliance token from another player and can take from the bet. So the thief allows me to actually steal from another player if this value is tied. And finally, I have the green castle. The castle says no alliance tokens can be taken from a player that played this card. This card also protects the player's bet if the green die value is not tied with another die. So since the castle protects my bet, one of the things that I've done becoming the challenger is essentially committed my bet to play. Now, if I win, my bet immediately goes back here. If I lose, the bet actually becomes part of the spoils, and whoever wins the bet wins my token. Now, the castle can actually prohibit my bet from being lost if I play it. So castle's a good card to play if I know there's no way for me to win this. I can protect my one token, and then I'll end up losing the yellow, but okay, at least I still have the one that I originally tried to wager. Let me go ahead and move these in here. So here's our current dice values. Now let's say, as the challenger, I declare that this round is going to be a war round. Now again, war essentially means that whoever has the highest total value of power at the end of the round wins the round. And when I win the round, I'm going to take whatever colors that I don't have in alliance tokens and put them into my pot. Whatever colors that I already have are going to go back to the bank. Now, if I don't need anything that's in the pot, I can actually elect to use the alternate action of war. And war lets me take a color token from any player at the table. Now, alternatively, I have the diplomacy token. And the diplomacy token allows me to specify, again, just like the cleric, a color of a token and a direction. And then all players shift a token of that color in whatever direction that the challenger who won this, or rather the winner of this round says. So if they say black and to the left, all players shift their black tokens to the left. If they say black and to the right, they would do all to the right. So essentially, if I were to win a diplomacy round and I took an alternate action because I couldn't take anything from the spoils, I could give myself the winning token if one of the players to my right or left had whatever I was needing. Okay, so back to our example, we're going to say we're going to play war, and in our war, we're going to play the Witch. Now, the Witch is a special card. The Witch right now is a red 6, and her special ability says choose higher or lower. And then I roll the red die, because her card is red, and if the die result matches my prediction, I take a red alliance token from the bank. So right now, the current dice value is a 1. So of course, what I'm going to do is say higher. So I'll take that and I'll roll it, and now it's a 3. So since I was correct in my prediction, I actually automatically get whatever the lowest value red token here is, which in our case is going to be a 4. And that actually goes in my personal pot. So here I have my bet, and here are the spoils, and now I have basically a value of 9 total power. Now the next player over is going to play their card. I'm just going to pull the top card off the deck, and that is a yellow witch. So they'll play that, and the yellow die is currently a 6, and they'll say lower, and they'll get another 9, and then pull a yellow token out of the bank. So 2 tokens were just transacted there and not a part of the bet at all. So play will proceed around the table until the last player goes. Once the last player goes, we'll determine whether I'm the highest, or rather who is the highest / lowest depending on the game round. Remember, war is highest, diplomacy is lowest. The winner of the round takes the spoils if they need the tokens. If they don't need the tokens, they can use whatever the alternate action is of the round type. So for instance, war, again, take a token from somebody, or diplomacy, and that is to select a color and a direction and move the tokens that way. That's essentially how to play Noble Treachery. Now, there's a lot of different nuances there, and you can actually end up scoring bonuses depending on what the dice read at the end of the round, which is kind of a fun little mechanic there. But overall, this is kind of a lounge game. And it's a game that you can kind of sit down with and very easily play with people who don't normally play games. I think this is a really good transition from casual players to the more hardcore players. Again, Jay, the man who designed this game, he says he likes the Fantasy Flight model. Generally, is what he plays, and that has a lot of tokens, a lot of figures, a lot of different maps and things like that. And that's daunting to a lot of players. Noble Treachery is going to be an easy way for you to kind of start to massage people into some of the finer elements of gaming. It's essentially a lounge game with a medieval twist on it, and I think it plays very well. Alright, so that's it for Noble Treachery. Again, it's going to be 4 to 6 players. It's going to play in about 45 minutes. I think that's pretty safe to say, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many players that you have. The first game, I think, is going to be a little rough for you guys, and just learning where to bet, when not to bet, if I want to go first, if I want to go last, that kind of thing, and just kind of getting the general strategy. After a few turns, though, I think you'll have it. Again, this is a current Kickstarter project, so definitely take a look at it. We're definitely going to give this our seal of approval here at Let's Level Up, and I definitely recommend you guys look at the Kickstarter page. We'll have a link below in the description of this video for you to just quickly access this thing. It's going to be a whole lot of fun for you guys. Again, it's very casual, which is one of the things I can't stress enough about this game. You can teach this game to anybody. It's not going to be one of those games that's only going to be for gamers, or at least the hardcore gamers, the fantasy fight gamers, as Jay likes to call it. I think Jay's designed a really great game among some of his other titles that he's already got out there. And again, the artwork on this game, they actually got one of the universities there and commissioned the students there to do the artwork. Fantastic job, guys. If any of you ever see this video, great stuff. I'm highly impressed with a lot of the cards. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Definitely back this project. We are giving this 2 thumbs up. It's going to be a good solid 7.5 out of 10 here, and think you should back it. And I know a thing or two about games, so try it and take a look at the Kickstarter, see what you think, look at some of the reward levels, and then choose which one is right for you. Crowdfunding is a big deal when it comes to tabletop gaming, and a lot of these games can't be possible without the help of the community. And you get games, you get them cheaper than you can get them in the stores, and you get really cool, inventive ideas from independent guys out there. So definitely I think it's worth checking out. One last thing, please follow Great Northern Games on all their social media sites. And as always, subscribe to this video, drop us a like, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find all of our information at letslevelup.net. Until next time, game on.